Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Deva Ki Jai. Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Jimnad Bhadesh Subhadra Devi Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Sama devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 14, Text 7 and 8. Venasya Vekshyamunayo Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvitasya Vicheshtitam Durvritasya Vicheshtitam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrina Kripayochu Smasatrina Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvritasya Vicheshtitam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrina. Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvritasya Vicheshtitam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrina. Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvritasya Vicheshtitam Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrina. Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvitasya Vicheshtitam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrina. Venasya Vekshyamunayo Durvritasya Vicheshtitam Vimrishya Loka Vyasanam Kripayochu Smasatrinaha. Venasya of King Vena. Avekshya, after observing Munaya, all the great sages. Durvritasya, of the great rogue, Vicheshtitam, activities, Ivimrishya, considering Lokavyasanam, danger to the people in general, Kripaya, out of compassion, Uchu, talked, Sma, in the past, Satrinaha, the performers of sacrifices. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace by Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Therefore, all the great sages assembled together, and after observing cruel Vena's atrocities, concluded that a great danger and catastrophe was approaching the people of the world. Thus, out of compassion, they began to talk amongst themselves, for they themselves were the performers of the sacrifices. Purport. Before King Vena was enthroned, all the great sages were very much anxious to see to the welfare of society. When they saw that King Vena was most irresponsible, cruel, and atrocious, they again began to think of the welfare of the people. It should be understood that sages, saintly persons, and devotees are not unconcerned with the people's welfare. Ordinary karmis are busy acquiring money for sense gratification, and ordinary jnanis are socially aloof when they speculate on liberation. But actual devotees and saintly persons are always anxious to see how the people can be made happy, both materially and spiritually. Therefore, the great sages began to consult one another on how to get out of the dangerous atmosphere created by King Vena. So we're supposed to read the next verse as well, right? Okay, text 8. When the great sages consulted one another, they saw that the people were in a dangerous position from both directions. When a fire blazes on both ends of a log, the ants in the middle are in a very dangerous situation. Similarly, at that time, the people in general were in a dangerous position due to an irresponsible king on one side and thieves and rogues on the other. Okay, so text 7 again. Therefore, all the great sages assembled together, and after observing cruel Vena's atrocities, concluded that a great danger and catastrophe was approaching the people of the world. Thus, out of compassion, they began to talk amongst themselves, for they themselves were the performers of the sacrifices. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langati grimyat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's a very weird situation described here in the pages of Bhagavatam. Usually we know that the kings, they're upholders of dharma. And here we have a king who not only doesn't uphold dharma, but he's actively and aggressively promoting adharma. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that for those who surrender to him, he protects what they have and he provides what they lack. So there is famous verse, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. And in another verse, Krishna advises Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Nir Yoga Kshema Atmavan. Krishna instructs Arjuna to depend on him for yoga and kshema, gain and safety. To give up the idea that gain and safety, gain means I want something, I'm lacking something. Safety means I already have something and I want this, what I have acquired, to be protected, to be safe. So for these two, gain and safety, Krishna tells Arjuna that you should depend on me. There is no one else who can give you what you lack and protect what you have. And this is a standard, we can say, job description of a king in the Vedic culture. The king is supposed to protect the citizens, whatever they have acquired, lawfully of course. It should be protected by the king, and whatever they need, it should be provided by the mercy of the king. And if the ministers are corrupted, in one purport, Srila Prabhupada, a little later in this chapter, Srila Prabhupada explains that the duty of the king is to punish the ministers by removing them or by killing them. Capital punishment. Therefore, this situation now we are reading about is really strange. And here in the purport, actually in the next verse, the situation is described very vividly. When a fire blazes on both ends of a log, the ants in the middle are in a very dangerous situation. So from both ends you have danger. And in this case, the danger was after the previous king, who was very pious king, the father of Vena, he left because he was disgusted. Then the Brahmanas, they enthroned Vena because they wanted to avoid the danger of the kingdom being plunged in chaos and anarchy because of thieves and rogues. If there is no king, then all these disturbing elements, they will take advantage. So the Brahmanas have chosen what they thought was the less evil in between these two. Kingdom without the king, and kingdom with a king who is mischievous and cruel. So this is also very significant because all these bad elements in society, thieves, rogues, dacoits, criminals, they are not people to whom you can talk sweetly and convince them with good, sweet words to desist from their nefarious activities. It's not working this way. Therefore, there is a saying, if you want peace, you have to prepare for war. Therefore, in Bhagavatam, also in several places, in third canto, for example, when Swayambhuva Manu comes to offer his daughter to the great sage Kardama Muni, there is a very vivid description of the military power of the king. He comes with the whole army, And Bhagavatam describes how these are the words of Kardama Muni, who he observes the army of the king, and he describes and he glorifies the king, because he says, if you, my dear king, would not come here with this huge army that makes the world, the earth tremble, and with so much soldiers, and that threatens the bad elements, then if there is no power to keep at bay all these bad people, then they will take advantage, and then there will be no peace for sages like me or for people in general. So instead of being disturbed by the king coming with the huge army in his peaceful ashram, which could be the case of a materialistic person, Kardama Muni praises the king. So this is the principle. You need a strong king, only then, strong government, only then there will be a law and order. It cannot be attained just by, oh, please, don't do this. Oh, don't you see that you're disturbing us? No, this is not working. People have tried this. Here in America too. I think to some extent they're still trying this. Let's not punish the criminals so strictly. You know, they are, after all, they are product of our bad management, of mismanagement. So we should have compassion, and for certain crimes we shouldn't punish them. And how is this working? Crimes rate are skyrocketing. It doesn't work. So this is the Vedic principle. Strong king who is following Dharma. He protects the citizen. He protects the brahmanas, the general public, and then there will be law and order. So here. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that it should be understood that sages, saintly persons and devotees are not unconcerned with the people's welfare. This is also very interesting, because this is what this is what sometimes uninformed people say about the devotees. So you are just escaping the real world, and you are avoiding the society. And you, what is your contribution, practically speaking, for the welfare of society? What are you guys doing for the benefit of all? But the fact is that only the devotees are working for the benefit of the society at large. Only the devotees, actually. Because here, in the next sentence, Srila Prabhupada says that ordinary karmis are busy acquiring money for sense gratification, and ordinary jnanis are socially aloof when they speculate on liberation. So we have only three paths: karma, jnana, and bhakti. And the karmis are busy working hard for their own sense enjoyment. It is called Annamaya, Pranamaya. Okay, there are 5 levels of consciousness. The first one is called Manomaya. No, sorry, Annamaya. Annamaya means you just want to eat something. This is what you understand about life, about the reality. You have to maintain your body by eating. Then the next level is called Pranamaya. Then you understand there are other living entities around me. So they also want to eat, they also want to enjoy. So let's make an arrangement that we cooperate peacefully on a material platform and share the resources in this material world. But this is still material platform. And the karmis, they're busy not with welfare activities, although they may try to convince us that that's what they're doing. But what actually they're doing is they're trying to exploit the resources of the material energy for their own benefit, material benefit. So they are not actually concerned about others. They're concerned about themselves. But because they see, if I want to attain what I want, I have to present myself in a respectable manner. So therefore they're engaged sometimes in welfare activities, because it's good for their sense enjoyment, not because they are concerned about the people. And then you have the Gyanis. They're socially aloof when they speculate on liberation. The Gyanis are even less engaged with society, because they find, or at least they think so, they find their pleasure in life in mental speculation. So they don't really care. So the only persons who actually care for the people are the devotees. Although, in order to see this, to understand this, you require knowledge. Usually, materialistic people cannot see through. They don't see this. The devotees are busy giving spiritual knowledge to people, which will solve all the problems of life, which will connect people with the source of pleasure. Krishna is known as Anandamaya Purusha. His very nature is bliss. So if we connect to him, then our need for happiness, for fulfillment will be perfectly satisfied forever. But people don't see this. And materialistic people, in 7th canto, Prabhu Maharaj explains how materialistic people are, in one side, they pride themselves that they're very smart, and they may be, to some extent, very expert in manipulating material energy. However, Prabhu Maharaj says they are very vigilant not to spend even $1 unnecessarily. And they may be good at this to some extent. However, they are, even from a material point of view, they're losing so much money. How? Because they're wasting time. And the time is the most precious commodity. We know Srila Prabhupada quotes Chanakya Pandit, who says that even if you waste even 1 second of your life, there is no adequate amount of money you can pay in return to get this time back. In Bhagavatam it is stated that Ayurharati Vaipumsam Udyan Astan Chayanasao Tasyartha Yatkshano Nitya Uttama Shloka Vartaya. With the sunrise and the sunset, the sun takes away the lifespan of everyone, with one exception: those who spend their time discussing the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, they are saved from the influence of time. So right now, we are sitting here in this spiritual place in Goloka Vrindavana. We're trying to discuss Bhagavatam. Right now, the time has lost its influence on us by the arrangement of Krishna, who is the source of the time factor. So, and it's not so difficult to understand why, because we don't claim our time. If you claim the time, if you wake up in the morning and you think, I am the rightful proprietor of the next 24 hours of time, it's my time, then if you claim it, then you'll lose it, because it's not your time. If it's yours, then how come that you just woke up in this body at one point, in one moment of time, and then after a few years you'll have to go to different body. If we are the controllers of time, then we have to be able to control the time. I need more time, so I'll prolong my life. But that's not the case. So if we claim our time, we'll lose it. If we use our time to glorify Krishna, then there is nothing to lose. So then the time, material time, doesn't have effect on the devotees. So the materialists don't see these things. They don't see how they're wasting money, wasting time. Also, another aspect of their foolishness is that they are unexperienced. Bhagavatam uses these words sometimes, often. Different sages. Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, when in the beginning, when Arjuna presents his point of view, and Krishna replies by saying that you speak like somebody who is very learned, but those who actually experience, they don't speak like you. Unexperienced, or Maharaja Jadabharat, actually, he speaks to Maharaja Raghugana with the same words. Because Maharaja Raghugana at one point, he presents some arguments, and they sound very logical. Maharaja Raghugana says, you say that the soul is different from the body, and there is anything in common. It's separate, completely separate. However, I have different experience. For example, if you want to boil sweet rice or water, what happens? You put the pot on fire, then there is milk inside, and then there is rice inside. So what happens? The fire heats up the pot heats up the milk heats up the rice. So in the same way, although the rice is different from the pot, it gets influenced. Right? In the same way, the soul may be different from the body. But we have experienced that when the body is tired, the soul is also tired. Right? Sounds all very, very, what's the word? Insightful. However, Jadabharata replies, those who actually I experience, they never speak like you. You make it all sound very smart, but it's not true. In the same way, materialistic people, they are inexperienced. That means they have lived enough, they have seen enough, and they still cannot learn their lesson. That there is no happiness in the material world. The only way to attain happiness is by surrender to the Lord. So in this sense, they are inexperienced, they are foolish, and therefore they don't see how the only real welfare activity for the benefit of the general public is devotional service. So we shouldn't be astonished. So here, the sages are not unconcerned about the welfare of the general people. We also see Yudhishthira Maharaj when, after the Kurukshetra war, there were so many unprotected women left. So one of the main concerns of Maharaja Yudhishthira was, or maybe the main concern was about these unprotected women. He, as we know, at the end of the war, he was very depressed, dejected, so even Krishna could not pacify him. By the mercy of Krishna, Bhishma Dev was able to pacify Maharaja Yudhishthira, and the main reason for this dejection was that he was very concerned about the well-being of especially the women. People say that the Vedic culture is oppressive to women. That's what uninformed people say sometimes. And here we see one of the greatest Vedic kings. He was dejected because the women were unprotected. It was main concern for him. What to do? In the Vedic culture, there are 5 categories that are especially protected. Everybody should be protected. They're called pragya. But especially 5. Then these are the women, cows, old people, brahmanas, and the children. 5 categories. They should be protected, especially. Because these are living entities who cannot protect themselves, so they have to be protected. So here we have this funny situation and dangerous situation where the king, who is the upholder of Dharma, he acts in an adharmic way. King Vena stopped the sacrifices for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he was confronted by the sages they felt responsible because they enthroned him. And when they saw what is the state of affairs, they felt responsible, first of all, for the general public. Because if the king opposes devotional service to the Lord, then everybody suffers. And then they were also concerned about themselves, because this sinful reaction that they have to face if they let this happen. They enthroned the king stopped the sacrifice for Vishnu. That means this is their responsibility. So they had to do something about it. They were responsible. So they personally went to the king and they pleaded with him. They decided to use sweet words in the beginning and to try to convince him that he's wrong, what he's doing is not proper. But they knew they have upper hand because they could destroy the king as well. But still they decided, let us try first to convince him. And then they presented their case very carefully with good intention, with sweet words. And then King Vena, he replied, you are unchaste, you're like a unchaste wife. I am your master and you are attracted to paramour. I am the person who protects you. Why are you speaking about these demigods? Who are those demigods? Don't you know that all the demigods reside in the body of the king? And he quotes Shastra here. He doesn't come up with something, he quotes Shastra. However, the conclusion is against Shastra. Therefore, since I am the Supreme, you should forget about all these demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and just worship me. And then he says, Avajananti mai muddha. He almost quotes Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Avajananti mam muddha, manushim tanamashitam, parambhavam ajananto, getva bhutadim avyayam. The fools don't know me, they deride me when I appear in a human form of life. And King Vena, he says something similar. Fools and rascals like you, Avajananti mai muddha. They think that I am an ordinary person, but I am the king. I am God, Naradeva. So you should worship me. And and then when they see the current, I mean the how deranged is the mind of the king, then the sages, they understand there is no other option. So they skip the other two possibilities. They don't try to offer him a lucrative post because he's the king. It doesn't work. They don't try to create dissension in his camp. He's too dangerous. It is not working. So they immediately went for the fourth one, argumentum ad baculum. So they destroyed him. They killed him by their Brahminical powers. And Prabhupada explains in the purpose that this is not possible nowadays, because in Kali Yuga, the saintly persons are not so powerful anymore. Srila Prabhupada says that they cannot even bring animal back to life in a sacrifice, let alone killing somebody just by chanting of mantras. So I was thinking that this is very instructive for us, because here we have an authority who stops the devotional service, the sacrifices. This was the Yuga Dharma back in this day. And you see how the sages, what was their reaction. They didn't just went along. And they felt responsible. They took some steps, some measures. So throughout the history, there were different persons who tried to do the same. We remember from a Krishna book, there was this king, Paundraka, who also claimed to be the supreme. He even had additional arms. He had these fake attributes of Vishnu, and he even had the audacity. Of course, this is all Krishna's pastime. So he even had the audacity to send a messenger to the Yadavas, to Krishna's court, and to demand that Krishna give up the false, he thought, attributes of Vasudeva, of Narayana, and give up his claim that he is the supreme, because Paundraka thought, I'm the supreme. Then when they heard this absurd demand, the Yadavas had a good laugh. Krishna laughed very much. They were very amused. And Krishna then, he didn't become angry at the messenger, as usually happens when you read throughout European history, when there is some messenger and he brings bad news or something, very often he is in danger. Krishna didn't do anything like this. He told the messenger, please send the following message to your king, to your master. Now, the message is, there is one big black snake called Krishna, and he will come and devour you. This is the message. And then that's exactly what happened. So there were different people throughout the history who made the same claim, just like King Vena. And I am the supreme, and I have to be worshipped. And more or less all the modern politicians, they have similar claims. And even if they nominally say that they are religious people, you see what they do, and then you judge by the palena parichete, you judge by the fruit. And I was also thinking that recently, just a few years back, we had a similar scenario unfolding right in front of our eyes. During this pandemic time, the Yuga Dharma was forbidden, basically, all over the world. We couldn't perform Yuga Dharma anymore. Not only public chanting on the street, but in some places I heard in Europe, they were not allowing, even inside the temples, the devotees to chant, to sing. Because singing, apparently, was considered the most dangerous aspect of human activity for spreading the disease. So the devotees were having programs in the temple. Well, first of all, the temples were closed. Many temples were closed for months, maybe for years. I don't know, not sure. Our temple in place where I'm coming from was closed for 4 weeks only. 4 weeks, that's what they got from us. But many places the temples were closed, and they were. But sometimes in some places they were not closed fully, but people could come for programs, but no chanting, no Yuga Dharma, forbidden. You could speak on Bhagavatam or Gita, but no chanting. Let alone chanting publicly, also forbidden. So we are supposed to analyze. Prabhupada says that we should be independently thoughtful, broad-minded, all these nice qualities, and we should think, we should analyze. So what happened to us? We all lived through these things, and at least my personal subjective experience is that we very easily we gave up on our Yuga Dharma. Very easily we just went along. We didn't even put a good fight. That's what I saw. Maybe there were a few guerrilla fighters here and there, but as a general, as a society, so we submitted to King Vena very easily. And we gave up our Yuga Dharma. So and now nobody speaks about this anymore. Nobody talks about it. It's just like never existed. But when we read Bhagavatam, we're supposed to see how it applies in our personal life. It's not just a nice story that we hear and it's interesting. Wow, look at this. They killed this king with mantras. But Bhagavatam is the ultimate reality, and we should see how it applies to our life. And next time when something like this happens, I think we should be more prepared and don't give up so easily. Okay, you cannot chant anymore on the street. Wait a minute. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati met Srila Prabhupada for the first time, and he gave this instruction to Srila Prabhupada, because of this instruction we all hear now, the instruction to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world. And then Srila Prabhupada had objection. He said, who is going to hear about Lord Chaitanya? We don't have independence even. We are under foreign rule right now, India. So first of all, we have to get liberation, and then we can do something about our cultural, religious heritage, share it with people. Nobody will take it seriously now. And then what was the Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaja's response? Krishna consciousness message is so important, so urgent, it cannot wait for any material circumstance to get right. In fact, when there was some pandemic situation, some epidemic, I don't know how we call this, in Calcutta, that's how they fixed the situation, by public chanting of Hare Krishna. Prabhupada explains that people from all kinds of religious groups, they joined together and they performed Sankirtan, and that's what happened. So just practical note on my side. Next time when something like this happens, I think we should put a bit stronger fight to protect our right to perform Yuga Dharma, which is why we are here as human beings. This is why we are devotees, part of this movement of Lord Chaitanya. You shouldn't submit so easily and go along with the materialistic people. And connected to this, we should be very careful to understand what is our identity. Gopi Bhartur Padakamayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. We are not conservative or liberals. We are not Europeans or Americans or Chinese or Indians. We should know who are we. We should be clear about our sambandha, and then based on our sambandha, proper sambandha gyan, then our abhideya will be proper and our prayojana will be also proper. Very easily devotees take sides in these materialistic disputes. Like during the pandemic time, devotees were pro or anti, anti-vaccine or pro-vaccine. But both of these extremes are material. They're material conceptions of reality. And we have our own idea. It's not idea. We have our own, given by Shastra, absolute universal identity. When Srila Prabhupada was invited to give speech in this Mensa club for very highly intelligent people, how they call this, IQ or very high IQ? Yeah, and you had to have IQ above to be accepted in this club. So Prabhupada went there. He spoke, and then at the end, one of these people, I think the chairman of the club, he told Prabhupada, he approached Prabhupada, he spoke up and he said, Swamiji, would you like to take our test? To see how intelligent you are? Prabhupada said, test? What test? How to see? What is this IQ test? Prabhupada said, we have our own test. Our test is how Krishna conscious you are. This is our own test. And he put his chadar like this, and he left. So it is either you are framed or you frame. So we shouldn't be framed by the materialistic concepts. They try to frame us all the time. Oh, are you conservative or liberal? No, we're neither of those. Rupa Goswami explains in Upadeshamrita, niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means either you follow the rules for the sake of the rules, these are the conservatives, or you don't follow the rules, these are the liberals. So we are neither of those. We follow the rules of Shastra because we want to attain the goal. And if we are caught in this, we will be framed. So we should be careful. And therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for example, he explains that the definition of Uttama Bhakti given by Rupa Goswami, Anabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyana Vritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama, it should be very minutely, carefully studied by all the devotees for two reasons. First, we should know what is the goal. Otherwise, if you don't know where you're going, you will end up somewhere else. And second, we should be very careful to guard against people who are presenting themselves as proponents of Uttama Bhakti, but actually are not. Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes the point, if somebody comes like King Vena, and he directly denounces Bhakti, Yuga Dharma, then it's easy to understand that he's a rascal. But there are people who come, they're dressed as devotees, and they say that they they preach, they propagate Uttama Bhakti, but actually they don't. So therefore we should be very careful to study Bhagavatam, to associate with devotees, and to understand what is the Siddhanta, what is our identity, and then act accordingly. And we won't be fooled by materialistic people with false propaganda. And they divide the devotees, and now devotees are for this or for that, but they're both material. They have nothing to do with spiritual we have transcendent identity, transcendental identity. We're not part of this duality, material duality. We're not meant to be. And therefore we should be studying Bhagavatam carefully and understanding who we are, what is our goal, and how to attain it. Okay. Thank you very much. Granthala Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So maybe somebody wants to share something. Yes. Therefore, all the great sages assembled together, and after observing cruel Vena's atrocities, concluded that a great danger and catastrophe was approaching the people of the world. Thus, out of compassion, they began to talk amongst themselves, for they themselves were the performers of the sacrifices. Yeah, it's short. Before King Vena was enthroned, all the great sages were very much anxious to see to the welfare of society. When they saw that King Vena was most irresponsible, cruel, and atrocious, they again began to think of the welfare of the people. It should be understood that sages, saintly persons, and devotees are not unconcerned with the people's welfare. Ordinary karmis are busy acquiring money for sense gratification, and ordinary jnanis are socially aloof when they speculate on liberation. But actual devotees and saintly persons are always anxious to see how the people can be made happy, both materially and spiritually. Therefore, the great sages began to consult one another on how to get out of the dangerous atmosphere created by King Vena. And we read also the next verse, which doesn't have purport. When the great sages consulted one another, they saw that the people were in a dangerous position from both directions. When a fire blazes on both ends of a log, the ends in the middle are in a very dangerous situation. Similarly, at that time, the people in general were in a dangerous position due to an irresponsible king on one side and thieves and rogues on the other.
It seems from this clear that the devotees have a responsibility to give warning to the people in general, and what to speak of the society of devotees. We have many persons. The society of devotees includes the advanced, the intermediate, and the less experienced. Demoniac propaganda, or even in some places forcing people, you must do this. The nature of a demon, they're not telling you to do something that's good for you. They're telling you to do something which is good for them, which invariably is bad for us or bad for you. So, we warn people about the dangers of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, meat eating, intoxication, uncontrolled senses, etc. It seems that this is a responsibility that we have. We have to gauge how much people are willing to listen. It's a delicate thing because, we can't interfere with anyone's free will. We can't force. But at the same time, there's one place in the Bhagavatam, how can an intelligent man see someone walking on the wrong path, falling into a ditch? How could he allow such a person to fall into danger? How no learned man could allow this. I forget where that is, somewhere in the Bhagavatam. So, more thoughts or realizations?
Yes, thank you, Mahamara Prabhu. Yeah, exactly. This was my point, is that this is our responsibility. And one good thing about the Western civilization is that to some extent still we have a freedom of speech, so we can actually articulate our ideas. People are having much more strange and crazy ideas, and they are not ashamed to speak up and to share them with the people, especially in the internet. So we shouldn't be shy to say what is written in Bhagavatam and share with people. And then it's people's choice what they want to do. But that's at least my... And we shouldn't be afraid to and try to blend in society. Blending in means we lose ourselves. We lose our identity. Religion that marries the spirit of today becomes a widow tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
A religion that marries the spirit of today. That marries. Yes. The spirit of today, the spirit of the modern world, becomes a widow tomorrow. Because
it changes.
In the society, everything is changing constantly. So if you are trying just to, as Pandava was saying, to fit in what's the modern situation, tomorrow things will change again, and you stay nobody. But if you have your values and you just keep your values, it doesn't matter what's happening in the society, you still continue to exist. Maybe they'll like you, maybe they won't like you, but you are there, you exist.
Yeah, another thing is that maybe our generation, talking about my generation, maybe we won't be able to take the world in 18 days, to take over the world in 18 days. But at least what we should do, we should try to preserve the teachings and not allow them to be watered down. Maybe that's our responsibility. And in the future, great, powerful devotees, when they appear, they will take the world. But at least we should make sure that the same teachings are handed down to the next generation, at least that much. So.
What did Prabhu say? Making an adjustment, but not changing the principle. That Prabhupada was criticized by the caste Brahmins. Why are you giving diksha and sannyas and everything to people who were born malechas and yavanas outside the Vedic culture? And or the careful gauging or trying to understand bridge preaching, create a situation where Prabhupada even said, if I told you everything in the beginning, you would faint. And he himself just chant Hare Krishna, and that was his main thing. And that's Lord Chaitanya. He was philosophy for the classes and Harinam for the masses. Because the holy name is so miraculous. It's Krishna himself, and Krishna is the super soul in everyone's heart. He'll give everyone what they can take. It's like the ultimate taking care of babies, and or K through 12 school. You have preschool and kindergarten, and in some places formally, they had the one-room schoolhouse, and the teacher would all the kids from age 5 to 18 in one schoolroom. So we should develop that faith in the potency of the holy name. And even the people who don't seem to react. And the world was plunged into darkness.
This is a hint that we should leave.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Ramara Prabhu. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Sema devotees. You do this? You did this? What happened?